Hello, and thank you for joining us at the Passive House Network's 2023 Symposium for the U.S. and Sustainable Density, a look at the European Climate Adaptive Districts. My name is Michael Eliason, and I will be your host. I am the founder of Large Lab, part architecture studio, part think and do tank, focused on the intersection of climate, decarbonized buildings, community-oriented housing, and planning more livable and happy cities. I am an architect, climate activist, author, and Passive House consultant in Seattle, but I've had the fortune of working in Germany for part of my career. Working here, I was able to be introduced to the work of the three firms who are doing really incredible and groundbreaking work at the district scale. In the US, our US district scale projects tend to be auto-centric, and so we really wanted to highlight some of the approaches that our peers are doing in other places for more community-oriented and low-carbon living opportunities. Europe has made great strides in the development of car-free and car-light districts, and we believe this is the next frontier, scaling up from sustainable buildings, from passive house buildings to low-carbon places to live. Today we will have three presenters. First, Lukas Vallentin of Architektur Werkstatt Vallentin, who will talk about Gartenquartier Unterschleißheim. Second, Yunshih Chen, planner with Brehm Urbanism, presenting on the Merwede Canal project in Utrecht. Third, we have Dr. Verena Brehm, planner and principal with City Förster, who will be presenting on the Hanover Eco Village. We will be anticipating a robust discussion after this event and ask that attendees type their questions into the chat, and we will incorporate these questions into the discussion. With that said, let's begin. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yunshih Chen. I'm an urban planner in Brehm Urbanism. Today, I would like to talk about the subject of integral planning for sustainable urban development in Merwede. The project is led by Brehm Urbanism, together with many collaborators and experts. Brehm is an office for urbanism and landscape architecture that works on design, strategy, and research to solve complex urban issues. As a multidisciplinary team, we put nature and urban life at the center of our work. We seek for balance between ambitions and feasible design solutions, and we also build on existing city inhabitants and qualities. We have experiences in complex urban assignments and also expertise in multiple themes, such as healthy urbanization, productive milieus, new mobility, just transitions, rich and layered places, and resilient landscape. Merwede is one of the representative projects of Brehm, which employs integral planning and research by design in its process. Merwede is a project in Utrecht, and Utrecht is a city in the Netherlands. It is known for the historical city center, the characteristic canals, and also the historical monuments and university. It is one of the fastest growing city in the Netherlands. It also has it will also increase around more than 100,000 inhabitants by 2040. So from these pictures, these pictures through time, you can see how the city has expanded fastly from 1800 till today. In order to deal with this growth, the city of Utrecht has developed several strategies. One of them is the compact city approach, which means to guide a balanced mix between different districts and to limit car use and accommodate urban densification in a healthy way within the urbanized boundary. Another approach is a barcode for development, which indicates the spatial requirements of social and cultural facilities, as well as sustainable ambitions that come along with every 10,000 households realized in the city. So this gives a guidance of the spatial implications of adding new housings in the city. Merwede is situated on the canal island of Utrecht, and it's rather close by the inner city of Utrecht and the central station. It concerns district number 5 on the Merwede Canal zone, and with the goals of compact city, climate adaptive, and sustainable development. The project will bring around 6,000 new homes on around 25 hectares of the project area, and together with many amenities and facilities for a variable target groups in the city. Currently, the area is an industrial area along the Merwede Canal, and it is situated between residential neighborhoods of the early 20th century and also post-war period, and some current recent new development, and also a city park and some other business areas. What is special about the project is that the project is done by a public-private partnership between the municipality of Utrecht and 10 other private owners in the area. In the last years, we have been working closely together with them, but also with the inhabitants and the entrepreneurs in the area. We organize a lot of place-making events and also design workshops to develop this project further together. This is an image that shows the view from the Merwede Canal. You can see the possible outcome of the densification behind the Merwede Park along the canal. This is also the master plan we proposed to the area with the example designs of the buildings that is presented in the project. In Merwede, we have 5 ambitions that are mobile Merwede, healthy and sustainable, mixed-use neighborhood, green unless, and the Kulisse city. Kulisse city is one of the main features of the urban quality. That means a layered building volume and morphology with the emphasis on human scale and city on the eye level. It also focuses on the quality of light and air and the porosity of the blocks. And we organize those principles into an urban rural map, and that provides as a guideline for the architects who will design the different blocks and buildings. Here you can see an example of the design of the architects. You can see the principles of the human scale, the setbacks, the green, and etc. An interesting aspect is that we designed the urban plan with exact rules, but also flexible guidelines, so that together with the diversity of the context and the urban framework and also programs, this can lead to innovative and diverse solutions from the architect's side. In terms of mobility, we have a very ambitious goal. We make the area mostly car-free and invest in good bike, pedestrian, and public transport system. Next to that, we organize the parking with around 1 parking for every 3 households. So it's very low parking norm, and also around 250 shared cars. And we also have more than 22,000 bike parking places that will be added in the area. The car-free principle provides us the opportunity to design the public spaces differently. So from these renders, you can see that the same streetscape can look completely different with a much better green and quality, public space quality when the paved area are reduced to the minimum, only for necessary like emergency routes for the vehicles. And together with the landscape architects, we have made a very, we have designed carefully the bike network with different hierarchies for the bike routes. And also we distribute carefully the bike parking for the residents and the visitors of the district. Here shows one of the east-west cycle routes through the project area, which will connect Merwede to the surrounding neighborhoods and the city. And here you can see the pavement materials are carefully thought through so that there is a different hierarchy indicated, and there's also a balance between the accessibility and the ecological quality. The car-free ambition also means that we need to organize the logistics differently. In the area, we allow logistics with limitation in terms of time and routing. We also introduce innovative solutions such as light electric vehicles, logistic hubs, and also mobility hubs. In terms of program, Merwede will not be a monofunctional residential area, but a mixed urban environment where basic facilities are available in the vicinity. This can stimulate a healthy lifestyle with less car dependency. And roughly 15% of the total program are dedicated for commercial, social, and business programs. We also have a different type of spaces. As you can see, the two main neighborhood squares are situated around more lively programs, but there's also more intimate and green spaces for the people in the area to enjoy calmness in their everyday life. This is example of one of the main neighborhood squares, where you can see the dynamic plinth and programs, and also some of the existing buildings that we keep and transform into new use. Merwede aims for high sustainability ambitions. So we have one of the largest heat code network in Europe. For all the roofs, we make use for them for either solar systems, green or collective spaces. So there's like no roof unused. Overall, it is also a search for a balance between the different aspects of sustainability and optimize them with a good spatial distribution. The sustainability goal in Merwede also has the social aspect and plays a very active role. We have proposed a Merwede City Lab that will connect residents with experts and also with the latest technologies and innovation for the sustainability solutions. So it's not just to achieve some technical and scientific goals, but it also plays an important role in social interaction and inclusive process. In terms of green, Merwede provides high-density urban environment, but also at the same time green and relaxing. The principle of green unless it's leading in Merwede. This means the starting point is green, and the paving in public space will only be done when necessary. For example, for some bike routes or paths for limited vehicles, or some part of the squares that are beside busy facilities. The green in Merwede is also diverse and layered. It is not just like short grass with clean-cut trees, but also different herbs, bushes, and a wide variety of trees. In this way, the green structure is robust and can provide a good environment for the biodiversity. The building blocks also have their green tasks, including the inner courtyards and also green roofs to provide habitats for target species like animals and insects. The following images shows like how the area could look like, and also how the green is integrated in the different levels of spaces, such as this one for the neighborhood square, with spaces dedicated to both nature and human activity. And this one shows how the buildings are contribute also to the green environment that includes green facade, roofs, and also the inner courtyard and balconies. Last, we would like to share with you some lessons we learned during this process. Like, first of all, we think the integral vision from the start on sustainability and also mobility and other aspects are very important. The research by design way of working allows us to stay open-minded, to embrace innovation and think out of the box. The public-private development was quite important. It's almost a must for the plan to keep going. And to think through the different scales is also useful. Like sometimes we can zoom in into details, but also don't lose the bigger picture. Sometimes it's necessary to think differently in terms of policy or different finance and governance model. Last but not least, it is important to stay the course, to insist and preserve through the whole process. Finally, we think that this project is an example of integral planning for developing sustainable urban areas. We would like to discuss further with you how this can also contribute to different urban projects in the world. If you are interested in more information about the project, you can check our website or the website of the project. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, my name is Lukas Vallentin, and I am presenting to you one of our projects, the Urbanes Gartenquartier, which we are doing with our office, the Architekturwerkstatt Vallentin. Our office is located in Munich, Germany, and I'm working in this office as, so to say, the competition developer. And this project was a competition we did around 4 years ago. And today I want to show you the status quo of the project and how it is developing and how we got so far from the idea of the competition and step by step closer to the realization. So the project itself is located as our office close to Munich in South Germany, not exactly in Munich, but in between the airport of Munich and the city of Munich. And this area is quite interesting for developers because it's connected very well through the highway and also train. So we are in an area where this is a closer look to Unterschleißheim. In red, you can see the area which was a subject of the competition. And the developer we were asked was or is a developer who is focusing mainly on developing commercial areas. And this is what he also did in this area. So south of the red marked area, we see big commercial buildings and also a building site where even more commercial buildings are built in the next years and also right now. And the project we are talking about is not commercial, but mainly it is about residential. And as you can see, Unterschleißheim, as it is not the city center of Munich, is not very dense. It's a small town with very, very small buildings. The highest buildings in the area north of our building site are 3 stories high, maybe sometimes 4. And the buildings south, where the commercial is, they are 5 or 6 stories high. So we have a big gap in between. And now the interesting question, how does the city or how to repair kind of the city in this area? Right now, there is a big parking spot for cars, which is not used anymore. And they built a big park house in the new developed area. So this area is free and the ground is available for developing. So what we tried was to... Did you stop the meeting? No problem. Can I just close it? Okay, I will just continue with this slide. No problem. I will just continue with this one. So what we can see here is the competition entry of our office, the site plan of the competition entry. And what we did was to find kind of structure which fits in between, which goes with the density of the commercial, but also reacts on the, so to say, small punctual houses in the north. And we did this, and in this way that we developed 2 or also 3 levels, different kind of levels, which are really different from each other. In the ground floor, we have the so-called LA level, where we have very dense, we call them clods, like ice clods or also earth clods with polygonal shapes. And on those clods, we have the housing units with the punctual and the pergola houses, which are kind of spread very pretty free on top of the clods and react on the density of the housing in the north. And this competition entry we did together with our, I have to say, like friend office, because we already did some very nice projects with them. The Freiraum Architekten, they are located also in southern Germany, in Regensburg. And together we all already did 2 different kind of projects, which were both building communities. So what was like kind of a base thought was the idea of developing not an anonymous investor housing, but a very communicative area where the community is a real central thought. So we thought about car-free living. So all of the area is car-free and not completely free, but reduced. So we can enter the LA level with small trucks for I don't know, for the post or for I don't know the firemen. And the cars owned by the people who live in this area go on the basement, which can be entered from this south street, which is in between the commercial and our area. So we have car-reduced living and car-free living. The cars don't disturb us. And the second thought was that if we don't have the cars, then we want to offer a lot of bicycle spots where we can also not only park our bicycles, but also and easily park them, but also repair them. And another thought was to add community rooms, and at least we don't have private gardens, we have shared gardens, which are also part of this community thought where they can do urban gardening. And this garden, all the gardens are on top of the clods. So I will continue. This is how it looks like in the isonometry. We have the punctual houses in orange. We have in blue the pergola houses. I hope this is the right word in English. And we have the clods with polygonal shapes. And what you can see inside the clods, we added some kind of light yards to bring light inside this very deep structure. And at least we have the landmark, which is marking not only the housing, but also the community area, and is bringing them somehow together. So we have now I have some slides with isonometries to get a closer look. This is what I was talking already about, the bicycle areas in gray. We also have a lot of bridges inside the area and ramps, so you can easily get on the clots and get from one clot to another. So it's not never a dead end, and it's also making them less private, more half private. So the offer is not only for the people who are living on the clot, but also for people who are living on other clots or who are working at the commercial area or the neighbors. So you can go there and sit in the garden. This is how the landmark looks first. We added a coffee on top of the landmark, which is can be public, so you can go there and have a nice view over the Alps. We did, after the competition, a big presentation for the neighbors, and in this presentation we also had a big Q&A in the end. So we were talking to them. We got very positive feedback, but also critical voices who said, for example, the landmark is too high, or this building could be a little bit lower, or you can put the density more on the other side. And so that was also a good thing in this project, because we could react easily on this questions. So we changed some things on the high, for example, yes, as I already explained. And another thing we were thinking of was that the clots in the first thought were only commercial or community spaces, and that was for the investor not the best solution, because as you can imagine, in Unterschleißheim we don't have so many commercial interests. So what we did is we added some some apartments inside the clots, which are a little bit higher, so you cannot look and go directly from the alley level into the houses, but you have small stairs like 1 meter high and are a little bit more private. This is the density of the clots with one view. So we have the 9 different clots, and yes, and the clots are, as I said, polygonal and open up sometimes to build small yards here and here. And here you can see how there's alleys. We imagined the alleys at the competition. So right now they're even more green, because this was the plants on the side. We now have them like fixed, it's not necessary for the people that they put their own plants outside. So it's a little bit more strict on this side. And yeah, here you can see also the bridge over the clots, and yeah, we imagine it very vivid. Yes. Here we take a closer look to one clot, so you can see that we have areas which are very deep inside, where you can still have a lot of light from the light yards. And you can see that also some apartments with the stairs I talked about are going from the alley level to inside the courtyard, so you can also have a little bit more private yard inside, where you have a private outside area, and silent also. Yes, this is the idea of the culture and consumption-free space. So yeah, we had a lot in the beginning. We had market space, we had theaters, fitness area, kindergartens, we had ateliers, we have a cinema, and so on. Not everything could do it until now, but still there's a big offer of community and also commercial things, which yeah, give the clots and the alley level an all-day use, so to say. Yes, this is the level of the garden, so to say, where we can enter also the punctual and the pergola houses, but you can also enter them from the alley level. Yeah, this is what I call the pergola house, because we have kind of a pergola here, which we use to enter all our apartments. You don't need too many staircases, and the punctual houses have one staircase inside. This is how we imagined the garden area. So you can barely see the alleys from here. It's really on level. And here you can see how we thought about the energy concept in the beginning, that all the houses have photovoltaic modules, solar panels, and also offer of climate roofs. Yes, right now it changed a little bit. So we have the climate roofs everywhere and have also the solar modules everywhere, because we all know that we need the energy, and the competition was done before the Ukraine war. So now we take a closer look to one area which is not anymore part of the project of the developer. It was bought by the city of Unterschleißheim to have social housing also in this area. And this area is right now in the we call it Leistungsphase 4, so it's like in the middle of planning. It's right before we start to do we start with the construction. And what you can see here is the basement, and the basement is kind of is connected here, but also we tried to have the basement only under the clots, so we can plant big trees on the alleys and also on the yards. Yes, here you can see the ground floor, where we have housing units, residential units on the right side. Here we have a community room where the people who are living here can come together for a community activity. And on the left side, with a polygonal shaped floor, we have a kindergarten, which has its own playing yard outside here, but also on the roof of the clot. And what you can see here is the entrance for the punctual house here, and we also had the entrance for this house inside the clot, and you can enter them from the ground floor. Yeah, what you can see here is the plan of the landscape architect. The city of Unterschleißheim also had to take a new landscape architect, and also new team of planners. The only one who is like connecting both projects is our office, and so we have a difficult position here, but we are also happy that not another architectural office is planning this, so we can have still this kind of that they belong together, and the whole neighborhood is out of one shape, so to say. To reach this goal, we developed a pattern catalog. Maybe someone knows the pattern language of Christopher Alexander. So we looked at very special things, or less special things also, and designed them very precisely in a very early status of the planning, so we can later discuss them very early, and later on they are implemented in both teams. This pattern are used for the architecture, but also for the landscape architecture. Here you can see, for example, one pattern, which is the loggia, which is framed by a corten steel frame. And also we have this pattern, for example, for commercial areas, or the patterns for the entrances. We have patterns for the facades and so on. Yeah, this is a view from the south. We have the landmark here. We have tried to have different kind of materials at the clot area, and for the clots and for the punctual houses, because we wanted to have the punctual houses and the pergola houses kind of flying over the clots. And so what we did is we wanted to have brick for the clots, because we imagined them like something coming out of the earth, which they really do, because we have a wall which is like framing the whole area, which is existing already, and we try to keep this wall, and you can go from the area of the wall directly on the roof of our clots. And the punctual houses we have with wood facades, wooden facades, timber, and so yeah, they are different. And but I will pick on this topic later again, because I want to show you that not the facade is the most important for us, but also which is behind the facade. Here we have one feature we wanted to add, because the landmark is kind of a sign also for this new neighborhood, and so we have added one green wall for this landmark. Green walls are always a difficult topic, because they are often very expensive and very difficult to keep them green. What we did in another project is that we had some plant tropes which are not very complicated, and from there on we can have plants which kind of ranking up a steel planks, and green after some time the whole facade here. So this is what I was talking about when I wanted to say that the facade is sometimes not what is behind. I mean, what we do in our office at all of our projects, we want to add as much timber construction as possible. And it was not very easy in this project, because the developer was used to concrete construction and concrete walls, and we had to convince him that the timber construction is the better construction. And right now the timber is even less pricey than the concrete, because also of the energy prices. But also one very big issue was that the timber wall had is much less thicker than the concrete wall. So 16, almost 17 centimeters. The investor was able to have in all areas of the whole neighborhood to add this 17 centimeters to his living floor, which he is selling or renting. So yeah, the timber construction is used not only at the timber facade buildings, but also at the clots, which have this the brick facade, and also at the landmark, who is, so to say, also a hybrid, wooden hybrid building. And yeah, this is how a kind of more actual rendering looks like. So we have the wooden facades here, and we have the brick facade here, which will get some kind of shadow game. Also, we have the somehow greened landmark, the back of the landmark, which is green, and we have the loggias from out of corten steel. Yeah, and here we can see the picture of the model which we entered for the competition, where we tried to highlight the punctual houses, and which I think was somehow the clue why we won the competition. And this is already the ending of my presentation. And I wanted to add some sentences because we are here on a Passive House conference, and I wanted to say that we in our office we are focused on not only on the wood construction, so we want to do ecological constructions, but we also are focusing on energy efficient buildings. So we try to create and follow always the Passive House rules in all of our projects, and want to do the certification. And this project, we also followed the Passive House rules, but maybe it's possible that the investor is not going to certificate, but still it's not stopping us from implementing all those kind of sustainable thoughts about architecture in one project. And we really want to create something lasting here with this project. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and maybe when you come to Munich and the project is finished, you can take a look at the Urbanes Gartenquartier in Unterschleißheim. Thank you very much.
Okay, dear all, dear colleagues, this is Lydia Ölwein and Verena Brehm from the office City Förster Architecture and Urbanism from Germany in Hanover. And we are more than happy to introduce to you a project that we have been working on for several years now, which is called the Eco Village. And the Eco Village is also located in Hanover, so we know the place quite well, and would like to show you some slides about the urban design, but also give a short insight into the architecture and some technical features of the project.
I think I have to switch first so you can see the map. Yeah, just to give you a quick feeling where we are located at. We are in Hanover. We are here in that area. So you see it's a rather dense city in Germany, and the Eco Village is located quite at the fringe of the city. So we move here in that direction. This whole area was developed already in the 90s with the idea of an ecological new urban area, and the Eco Village will be located here. So we will switch to our slides. I hope you understand everything we are saying, also with our accents, and maybe we might mistranslate some words. So I hope you can bear with us. And yeah. So the whole idea is that it's based on circularity. We think about a circular use of energy, solar power, etc. You all know that stuff. That we have shared spaces, that we use water responsibly, and also with the ecological circles in mind. We are, as earlier said, at the fringe of the city. Here you can see the surrounding urban development from around the 90s, and we are continuing that. In the area, we already have a larger depends on what you call large, but we have a center where we have a kiosk or some way for a small shopping area, for meeting, for having public spaces. So we don't want to be a competition to that, but rather include a new area for living in that area. And of course, we want to have a good bike connection throughout the whole area, which you see in yellow. That is the design of the area. And we will now kind of dissect the main components of the concept to you. So really the heart of the area is what we call the village center, the village square. Of course, the whole term around village, it developed, so it's not necessarily the best term to describe the area. It does have an urban feel. So in the center, we have what we call the Psych Hub. We have the shared spaces for like where you can have the library of things to share material things. So in the Psych Hub, we have also an area where you can come and exchange maybe construction elements, or like when you want to work in your house and you have a vacuum cleaner, and to really have the idea of shared living at the center. Yeah, here you can see it in the section as well. We integrated a tiny house hostel on the top of the Psych Hub. The idea is that you don't have to have big apartments, but rather smaller ones. And if someone comes over to visit you, the guests can stay in the tiny house hostel. So to centralize the idea of guest houses or guest rooms. The idea is that this is a really vibrant place where people meet each other, where you exchange. And kind of a contrast to that, you have what we call Allmende, which is quite an older German word, which describes area to a green area where you can go gardening and urban gardening concepts. So a green area, which is also a social place. The water concept is also based around the idea of collecting water, of using water, of storing water. And we have little cisterns where we collect water that can be used for gardenings. We have retention areas where storm water can be stored, so it's integrated in the idea of the garden of the city and to have the water on the surface and not underground. That is how the Allmende, the green inner area, can look like, where people do their gardening, but which is also blue and green space. The core of the concept is to have little neighborhoods where people come together, where they have little central spaces and also more quiet areas to live in. So the center of the neighborhood, we have the German word Anger. It's not meant anger or to be angry. It's just an old word that describes really the heart of a village, where people just meet and come together. We have really important is also not to have parking lots all over the place, but they are collected at the outskirts of the eco village. We have bundled parking. We have rain gardens to clean the water, and of course parking. Bicycle storage is also really important. It takes a lot of space up because we want people to cycle instead of use a car. So to have also good bike storage, not just outside, but also inside where the bikes are really safe. Yes. Yeah, and that is kind of how it could look like, the smaller, more quiet areas inside the neighborhoods. Now we will jump to the next section.
Yeah, this shows the typology mix, which means one aim of the project was to develop a variety of building types, because the goal is to also offer variety of apartments to a variety of people, so that the social mix in this area is also quite high. This is also one of the goals of the cooperative that is organizing the project, which has around about 500 people that are joining it now, maybe even more now. So what you can see here is that the different colors symbolize the different housing types. And some of them are introduced in the next slide. So you can see from left to right a house with a special circulation system, which we call Laubengang house, so that has an open circulation, like a pergola or arcade. Then we have more classical type, which is called Zeile, with 3 or 4 apartments on one floor, and one quite chubby typology, which is called Punkthaus, with a very efficient circulation system. And then some tiny house models that are within the mix, one of the rare typologies. So most of the people will live in these multi-story houses. Here you can see that each of the neighborhoods has different typologies. In this case, the Laubengang house, the one with the open circulation system, is marked. And you can see it here. That is, it is also quite spacious. So it's not only functional, but it also serves as a meeting point and community, like open air community space for informal meetings and neighborhood life. And all construction is of course based on minimizing resources and gray energy. So the foundation is planned as Punktfundamente, so very tiny foundations that are easy to deconstruct and use less concrete than other foundation types. This is the grid of the wooden construction, so quite efficient and standardized. This is, as I already explained, the circulation system as an outside area, like a vertical balcony for the whole community. And of course, the roofs, not only of this type, but of all houses in the area, are used for energy production, solar energy, and at the same time they are green roofs, so that is the combination of an energy and green roof. And partly the roofs are also used as roof terraces, so again a shared space for the, in this case, neighborhood. The facades show that they should be quite playful and show the inner life to the outside, with balconies and these roof terraces. But there's also an ecological factor, because it's planned that also parts of the facades are greened to enhance the microclimate of the area. And what you can see here are different apartment types, and they are all based on the idea that they have a communal character. So this apartment type is what we call Clusterwohnung, cluster apartment, and that means that the private space is really reduced to the minimum, and then you have a bigger or more spacious area for eating and dining and being together that you share with your neighbors. In this case, the apartment is planned so that in the future it can also be subdivided, so that is in regard to different lifestyles and different living phases. For example, your children, they move out and you're willing to also reduce your own private living space, but you don't want to move out of your apartment, then you have the opportunity to divide the space and give part of it to another party without big construction necessities. And this is the idea of a Schaltraum, which means that this space can be either used by the apartment on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, also depending on the necessities of a certain living phase. So when you need more space, you don't have to leave your apartment, but you can have this room for a certain time, and then you share it again with the other people, with your neighbors. So also the idea of flexibility of apartments growing or shrinking. Thank you. Yeah, of course, all the buildings also have shared spaces, mostly in the ground floors, like a big space to park all bicycles in the safe space. And then also a neighborhood room where you can eat together or do any kind of events together, and then also more practical stuff like a Waschküche, so a place where you can wash your clothes and dry them, so that the apartments don't need that individually, but you also share these spaces and machines and energy and so on. Yeah, and this is on the upper floor, also communal space. This is the roof garden with the communal kitchen. Okay, this is this is the end of our presentation. It was more an overview on the urban design and the overall water concept and energy concept, and of course the idea of communal living in this area. We also hope that you understood that this project is based on the sustainable principle of sufficiency, Suffizienz, as we call it in German, sufficiency, which means that the whole project aims at reducing the amount of resources, amount of energy, amount of emissions that are used not only to develop the project, but also in the whole lifetime of the project. And this also means that individually, every person who lives there is willing to also reduce the space that she or he privately uses. So all apartments are minimized. It's in numbers, this means that each person only occupies 28 square meters, including all the shared spaces. And in Germany, the average usage is not 28, but 47. So that is a big achievement in reducing the privately used space. And we think that it also brings a really high quality living quality, because instead of thinking that this is a Verzicht, that this is something that you lose, personally lose, we think it's a quality because you gain a community that you are integrated into, and you also share this feeling with other people. The last slide is a very, very short glimpse at the architectural scale of the project. The project is in the process of being built. So the building permission for the first part of the area is given. And this is one of the houses that City Förster, together with our colleagues from Studio Mauer, has designed. And what you can see here, that it is a wooden construction, so it's CO2 friendly construction, because the CO2 is safe in the construction. And like all buildings in the area, it has a photovoltaic infrastructure on the roofs and also a green roof. And what you can see on the picture is that it also has a green facade in parts. And aesthetics, I think it shows that it is a living architecture, so it is intended that the people that live there can also change it over time and really make it their own homes.
Maybe to add, the project was initiated by an association, who really are involved in the whole process. But that would take another 20 minutes to discuss. Maybe, in the questions we can also discuss it further, and anything you are interested in will be nice to hear about.
Yeah, maybe to end with some numbers to give an overview of the dimensions of the project. The total area of the eco-village is 5 hectares, and 3.5 hectares of it are open space, mostly vegetation-based. And it gives space to approximately 1,000 inhabitants, so 500 residential units are planned at the moment, of which 40% are social homes, and the rest is planned as affordable constructions, where also people who intend to live there can join the construction phase. Okay, thank you very much for your interest, and see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
So hello, I hope you enjoyed those presentations. We are now live for the Q&A and discussion portion. We have Yunshih Chen with Brehm, who talked about the Merveda Canal project, Lydia, who was working on the City Förster project that went last, and Gernot and Verena Vallentin are sitting in for Lukas on the Gartenquartier unter Schleißheim. So I'll start off with a couple of questions. I think all of these presentations were great. Like, I love the diversity of scales here, that you guys are focusing on things other than just Passive House, right? Like Passive House is kind of like the baseline, and we're moving beyond that. And I think we're struggling a little bit with that here in the US. We're not the best at city building. We've kind of lost this culture that I think is really inherent in a lot of the work that you guys are doing. So I'll start with that. So for my office, Large Lab, like Passive House is the baseline. Is Passive House your baseline? Are there other baselines that you start to look at for like blue-green infrastructure or car light mobility options? Like, what are the things that you really are starting to bring to some of your projects? Let's kick it over to Gernot first.
Okay, perhaps we can, at this project, I think the urban planning was the first thought of. And it's not so easy to fulfill Passive House standard here at this project, but we thought that the urban planning here is the most important issue we have to fulfill. but it's possible to do it in passive house standard and cause a very compact building. It's not so difficult, at least, but it's not doing by itself, and we are used in other projects. The passive house implementation is a little bit difficult. The owners and developers are not so easy to überzeugen.
To please.
Yeah, thank you. So that's the point for us, but we like it, and it's a project. It's a project with a lot of shading, and so it's something we need a lot of to get in any way we get sun in the flats and things like that. So this was very interesting for us. But we like the design of this called. I see it's a design for is a old historical town and combine it with modern housing design. So this and we like it very much, but there are some difficulties for the passive house design, at least.
And we in this project we also waived for the motorization of this area, so there are no cars at all in the little streets, also in the alleys. There are no cars there, and this is what we aim in a lot of projects in Germany now, to have not so many cars in the villages anymore. And you can see that in a lot of projects now. That's a very good thing.
And Lydia, what about at City Forster? Is Passive House kind of your baseline? I know you guys have done a lot around circularity and mass timber as well. Kind of where are you guys headed?
Yeah, thank you for your question. And I think it's a really great question because it points at looking beyond architecture and into the urban realm. I'm an urban designer, so I actually don't know as much about passive housing like probably all of you, because I have this urban lens. And what I kind of, maybe it's a bit of a provocation, but the finest passive house will be an ecological disaster if we build it on a greenfield, single detached housing, because we have to build roads, we have to seal surfaces, we have to build a lot of infrastructure for very few people. So if we think about mixed housing, and all of these projects show how it can be done, then we have less sealed surfaces, we have the right density. And also we have to think about how lifestyle also follows the urban form. So we just talked about, Gernot just talked about mobility. So of course, if you build a typology that requires people, for example, to have a car, to have longer distances to work and so on, yeah, that won't be sustainable.
And Yunshih, with the work that you guys are doing at Brehm, which I think is so groundbreaking on so many levels, like that project when it first was published, like blew my mind because it's not something that we can conceive of. Are you guys building on that? Is Merveda kind of like the new stepping point, and you guys are reaching further? Do you have baselines for that? Kind of what is the direction that Brehm urbanism is going?
Yeah, we are on one hand, if shortly about the passive housing question, it's indeed also for us the same difficulty as the other offices here. Like on one hand, it's difficult to convince the developers or investors, and on the other hand, it's actually depend on where you consider it's passive. So for example, we quite focus on high density areas because we sort of believes in a more dense, at least compact development, not per se everything need to be high rise or that, but at least to reduce the need of using car to commute to do everything. So car free, and recently we have been focused a lot on the bio-based and wood constructions. So we were considering to sign a kind of agreement that is not exactly legal bonded, but it's some associations in Netherlands has been promoting to agree on every development has at least 20% of wood or bio-based constructions. So that's something we are quite eager to participate as part of it. And in the time when Mervede was developed, it was in a bit earlier, this bio-based and wood thinking. So we did we were more on the urban ruling part, so we didn't really design architecture ourselves. So now we are in the kind of supervision phase. So in this phase, we try to stimulate architects or developers in their plot to have as much possible wood or bio-based materials to be used.
We didn't touch, or your presentations didn't touch too much on community participation. But my feeling based on working in Germany and the US is community participation is almost foundational to the success of these projects. Gernot, you guys with your Baugruppen, I think there's a lot of collaboration that's going on with those. Yunshih, I imagine there's a ton of collaboration going on, not just at the city level, but also with your sub-consultants, the rest of your team, and the city itself, right? Like the city is coming in, the residents are coming in and saying, look, we need this in our neighborhood. We love this idea. Lydia, I think the City Forster's work around this is really great as well. The Eco Village Hanover was really, wasn't it? It was like founded by, it was pushed by the people who are going to live there. So can you guys talk a little bit about the community participation aspects of these projects? And Lydia, let's start with you.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. What was special about the Eco Village that it was driven bottom up. So there was actually an association that came together of people who said, okay, we want to live differently, and that drove that project. So of course, it's something that doesn't happen all the time and everywhere. But in every project, we need to have a certain level of community involvement. If we build larger projects in Germany, it's already required by law to involve the communities. But of course, there it's not as in depth as if it's a bottom-up project where people are really invested and think, okay, that's where I want to live and I want to have a voice here.
And Gernot, Verena.
Yeah. First, the important point is what is the benefit when we involve the community? And that's the point. It's in our design, any parts in the design that we can change our design when there is involvement of the community. So this is the important question. And sometimes I feel it's also a question of feeling, but we don't like that somebody disturb our design we like so much. But we learned that it's also a benefit just to do it and just to bring it together and see it positive. Also, our feelings say, no, that's not positive what they're doing. But we try to, and this movement inside of us, the feeling movement, I think it's a benefit for the whole project. So it's more stable at least. And this is the point that we can also say on one point, no, stop. It's not your task just to talk about facade in any detail, and then it's easy to do it because then we have you see that it's not two parts. It's not we're not against each other, but to show also, okay, now we are the one. We have to decide or make a Vorschlag
Agreement.
Yeah, that's agreement, and therefore I think the projects really get a benefit at least. And when you have a look at, we can do the things we really think it's important. It's only architectural thinking, and we can bring it through the project at least when you build it, not only in the beginning, just bring it to an end. On other points, the community change things, and it's okay. That's the point. I think it's a question of feeling, and it's our whole team must come with this. It's not only me who can decide, oh no, I think we do it or not. The whole team has to do it, because I think in every architectural office we work as a team. It's not I'm not the king of the office. I have to bring everybody together. So and that's I think it's very interesting, and I think I like our project, therefore, that it's possible in our project that becomes something strange into our project too. So, but if we have some points, we say no, it's about the thing of like energy efficiency and things like that. We're just fighting for very harsh, at least. And sometimes we have to do it. So we have to make a strict line that we can we will change our design, and there are points of the concept we say no, it's not possible. Sometimes I say not no, because then you get the opposite. But ever inner border to say no, it's a line we will not leave. So that's I think that's a very interesting way of the inner logical of a project. But I think we learn to be successful in this balance. It's something of a balance.
Yunshih, do you want to go?
Yeah, in our project also was in the beginning it was not with the kind of existing neighborhood, but the neighborhood around are indeed quite worried about such a high density directly coming to their surrounding. So we have worked with some branding company, like start from very beginning. So in the beginning we have like a Mermaid run every year or every half year, so people can run through the project area. And at that time it's only some business companies, so some companies open their doors so you can run through their offices, so people sort of start to understand, oh, what is it now at this location, what is happening there. And then beside that, we have a lot of like participation evenings to talk with the surrounding neighborhoods, and they start to also give their wishes, which indeed affect a bit our program. For example, there's they know there will be more supermarket, or they even give wishes where they would like it to be, or the new bike bridges, they can also use it in the future to commute to the city center. So in a way that of course, we are more in control of the overall balance and structures, but we do take into consideration what the benefit it can give to the surroundings neighborhoods. There were still, of course, people unhappy about it because some houseboats need to be moved because of new bridge or something like that. But yeah, it always still happens in the development. And we are also trying to build up something that we call co-creation. So for example, there is this Mermaid Lab. Now it's still in the architecture design phase. So architects can give ideas, like it's more like a network of sustainable solutions. So if architects want to say, we want to do a kind of a reuse of a certain material that are now there, and this lab can help them to find the network, like who can have the knowledge that can help them to reuse, for example, this whole wall that is tear down. And what we wish and also put in the agenda in this Mermaid Lab is in the future, for example, if people say, I want to renovate my kitchen, but I think there's still a lot of things that can be reused, but I don't know how to do it. So this lab will stay in the project area as a kind of a knowledge point. They will help people to get the people they can find to help them achieve some more innovative, sustainable ideas. So that's a bit the way we build up the community involvement in the project.
The co-creation aspect, I think, is really interesting. I feel like you guys in Europe are like 20 years ahead on all of these things: passive house, mass timber, co-creation. The new European Bauhaus is pushing all of these things as well. There was a question about like, how do we bring these ideas to the US? For me, it's just talking about these things. Like, these concepts are so foreign and outside of the box of how we work in the US. I think one of the most critical aspects, though, all of these projects, to my knowledge, were from urban planning or architecture competitions. This is the main mode of project procurement. I think on projects of this scale in Europe, we don't really do planning competitions in the US. Can you talk a little bit about like the competition process? And for me, I think it's a way of the community, the city, the people who will be around it. They know what's going to happen by the time the competition is over. Yunshih, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think if we take Marvet as example, it's indeed a bit, even in Europe, in the scale, it's a bit special because we sort of succeed to gather, like in the beginning was 7 owners, but the lucky part, you can say, it's also this whole 7 owners, the municipality played a kind of a big part of the owner collectives. So we were able to sort of take the municipality with us and convince the other owners to make a plan together. So that was indeed quite a challenge, but also I think that's one of the key that we can achieve such a type of design in such a density. To give advice to the US, I'm not super sure, but I think maybe indeed if maybe you can start from small, like if you can collect a few plots, and indeed we need to find people that agree to live differently, and then like if some pilot project can be pop out as a like kickoff, then maybe I guess it's always the unknown that make people afraid. So if you start to see another possible and nice examples to another way of living, and then that could maybe as a starting role. That's what I think. Yeah.
Gernot, would you like to go next?
Yeah, also in the projects we have in Germany, we have a very good approach, and it comes from the government. It comes from the cities and also from the clients. All these three, also people, wie sagt man? Also these 3 players, they aim the sustainable as targets, and they in competitions they it's important to fulfill these aims.
I also think it's a little bit of at the beginning of a project, everybody wants to fulfill their to build a nice world. Yeah, and the people sitting in the jury also have a look like this, a little bit naive, but I think it's important to just to start the project in this way. Because when you at the beginning are too realistic, you say, "Oh no, please forget it. It's so hard work. It's so much problems. Please let it go. Please let it. Don't do like this.
Let it be.
Let it be." And so, but I think it's a good method to say at the beginning we are hopeful and want to do the good things. And I think our task as a planner is then to fulfill it at least, and to remember everybody, look at this, what you want at the beginning. So we do it every week, we have to do it. But it's a good starting point. And when you are too realistic, I think it could be the point that the decision to start a project like this, like they've seen today, the 3 projects are very ambitious, and I think it's important. Perhaps at least they cannot fulfill everything, but to start with this, I think that's the point. And then everybody has to struggle a little bit during the whole process. But yeah, it's everybody learn a lot of it and things like that.
And Lydia?
Yeah, to start with the collaboration aspect, I think the most meaningful way to transfer knowledge is by collaboration. So I can only say for us, we are always happy to collaborate. If there's someone in the US, we can work together, and I'm sure it applies for the other offices here as well. Look into the academia, look into the practices. It's very open. About the aspect of the competition. So there's a lot of debate about how should the competition be like in Germany.
So any architect in Germany can discuss this for hours, I guess. So I just want to say it's not like there's very positive aspects. There's also difficult aspects about it. I want to stress that because it's always easy to have the green grass on the other side. So I think competitions are great to ensure quality, to have different ideas for a place. And it's also great for different practices to enter the market. Otherwise, there would be maybe always the same architecture firms having the commission. So that's what it's great for. But of course, it also requires a lot of architects and designers put a lot of working hours for free or lowly paid, very lowly paid into the work. That is like if you talk about work-life balance and all these things, there's also problems attached to that. I think we all know that as designers and architects. And the next question arises, of course, around the question of who is in the jury. Sometimes I think we have a problem with diversity in juries. Yeah, there's still work to do, though, of course. I think it's great that we have a system where every architect or a larger number of architects can enter the market.
And on that, we are being asked to wrap it up. I hope you guys have enjoyed this presentation. I love all of these projects, and I'm looking forward to visiting all of them in the near future. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please reach out to us or the Passive House Network team. And so for everyone here, goodbye. For everyone in Europe, schönen Abend. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Have a good
Goodbye. Ciao. Tschüss, servus.
day.